perhaps they lack these ingredients, that they should be fused into the way we prepare our education system, that the way we train our public servants, that the way the police is trained when it comes to law enforcement, that the military is prepared and trained when it comes to providing national security, that culture institutions, the religious institutions take the forefront in terms of working with communities to build relationships and to build resilience amongst the people. That the conditions that are explaining violence that have characterized Uganda's history of civil wars and militarization and political violence are not going to go away. But should all humanity, all citizens of Uganda be destined to fight for the next half a century, because that has been the first half a century, are we, or we can create alternative means? That is where the paradigm shift comes in. That can resilience, relationships and social bonds be transformed into programs that government, civil society, communities can implement to retool the mindsets and the means and ways within which we interact to satisfy our needs. That the means and ways through which government delivers services to people to meet their needs. Or that the leaders in parliament exercise their authority when they are enacting laws and regulations for the country. Is there a way that these elements can help to inform that space and create an alternative living for Uganda for the next half a century? So that is in brief, that is what we came up with. And we believe that at the end of the day, self-advancement must be the ultimate pursuit of every individual Ugandan. I found a book on politics, society, leadership. I'm trying to get the title. And it defined the government. It's one of the best definitions of government I've ever come across. He said, government is what you think about when you're alone sleeping at night. And for me, that made a lot of meaning. In other words, government is supposed to be a mirror, like that one on the wall. Put it in front of you, you have to see yourself in that mirror. If you don't see yourself, that's not it. Period. Okay? When you sit back at home and you believe that you are going to be able to pay your tuition tomorrow, that you are going to get the services you need the next day. You have a headache at night, you know the next hospital is going to give you the best service. That is government. You get it? Don't generalize and say our people in Karamoja. If every Ugandan has that thinking, then we will have a government that mirrors our interests and objectives and goals and pursuits, that is guided by the values that we all share. Because I really can't wake up and disrupt a government where I see myself. You get what I mean? You cannot wake up in the morning, you look into yourself in the mirror and you break it because it shows a reflection of you. Can you? Yeah, you can't. It's the same way. So we think that this research represents a paradigm shift in terms of how we think about governance. And as I have told you, these are critical and underlying solutions that we think should be mainstream into the areas that I have outlined. And finally, as I open this up for discussion and coffee, what does community participation mean? Something came up in this research that the community has a stronger role to play in terms of promoting resilience, social bonds, and relationships. That much as government is a structural arrangement. Government is a what? It's a structural arrangement. We just sit and agree and say, hey, this one will do internal affairs, and and guided by a constitution, which is also a structured document. Communities provide the context and the environment where relationships can be built and strengthened, and social bonds and social values are constructed but also practiced. Therefore, the structural approach to dealing with exclusion and injustice and the communal approach to bring in relationships and social bonds and values must combine in shaping the future and the pursuit of self-advancement of all citizens. So communities are not bystanders. Communities are critical players in the areas of self-advancement. And if self-advancement is going to be measured and indicated by, it's not indicated amongst the self-identified non-participants in violence. Self-advancement is not actually indicated by by tangible things, how much money the individual has on their account. On many occasions, people talk about self-advancement in terms of having a strong self-esteem that helps them to guide them through all the other work and interaction that they can achieve. The self-esteem as a departure point towards self-advancement. They also talk about respect for differences. It is also self-advancement, the recognition that an other exists and I can achieve my interests if you can achieve yours. That recognition has to happen. It is a form of advancement. It is the alternative to the individualistic and selfish approach to advancement that says this has to be me and I must own this, I own this, that, I own that, that is my land, that is, you get what I mean? But the recognition that I own that land, but the people on that land must achieve their interests for me to achieve mine. That has, regardless of vulnerabilities, and that is guided by religion, by culture, and by social status. Self-advancement is indicated by that. It is also indicated amongst the self-identified non-participants by the ability to compete. It is appropriately normal that people should compete. And there is no problem in competition among the self-identified non-participants. Fair competition. And there is no problem amongst them in terms of the other tribe and my tribe. The problem comes when that difference is used to deny them an opportunity. When the difference between the tribe, the problem is not competing, it is okay to compete. The problem is using the difference I have with Claire or with Abbas, with Sharon. You use that to deny me, and then you give the opportunity to the other. You get what I mean? So self-advancement is indicated by the ability to compete fairly. They know that they exist in a society where things are hard, it is hard to work and make money, but you have to put up a business and compete with other businesses. Period. The problem is denying me the business opportunity and give it to the other on the basis of tribe, on the basis of sex, on the basis of religion. That becomes a problem. So, we think that in the discussion that we should have, we will want to get comments and discussions from you by way of validating the arguments that I'm making or disputing them. It is part of this process to say, I think you are wrong, you know. Number two is help us to expand the application of these elements. I have given you some areas, local governments, where education sector here, where we think we could, you know. And number three is help us to expand the scope of stakeholders. Who do you think the critical players should be in moving this argument forward? We are now constructing a paradigm shift. We are trying to shift the paradigm, as Thomas Kuhn mentioned, and we are doing it in a way that focuses on why they don't fight, and trying to take the findings from those people who don't fight to say, can we use them to reduce participation in violence and improve our societies across?